I will now reconvene the meeting of the Mount Diablo School Board for September 24th with a roll call. Trustee Durkee. Here. Trustee Hansen.
Here.
Trustee Mayo. Here. Trustee Lawrence.
Here.
Trustee Mason is here, and our guest trustee for the night is Hannah Genevin. She's from Concord High School, and as she knows, she can join in anytime she wants. She just doesn't get the privilege of voting quite yet. And Hannah, would you like to lead us in the pledge to flag, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Hannah. Report out from closed session. Possible cases under Government Code 54956.9, and on all three of those cases, the board just received information. So it takes us to public comment. Public comment, the public may address the board regarding any item within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education of the Mount Diablo Unified School District that's not on the agenda. These presentations are limited to 3 minutes each, or a total of 30 minutes for all speakers, or the 3-minute limit may be shortened. If there are multiple speakers on any one subject, the public comment period and that just jumped on me. And you cannot yield your time to anybody else. I always say to everybody when they come to the meeting that we making your public comment, we can do one of three things. We can ask you a clarifying question, we can refer you to a staff member, and if we choose, we can put your item on a future agenda. So if you're here looking for a definite answer tonight, you're probably going to be disappointed, but know that we are listening and that we will respond in whatever way is appropriate to your problem. So we're going to start with public comments, and we have the cards right here. And first off is Larry Chuchi. Come on up to the podium.
I heard about 3 months ago that through the Walnut Creek Racket Club that so I was glad to hear that, because they were in bad shape. They were badly pitted. There was a lot of cracks. They were like unplayable. So out of curiosity, I went over there a couple Saturdays ago, and I found, the contractor did a beautiful job. He did a great job. They looked great. And when I went over there, all the gates were locked up. Every single door, every gate was locked. Okay, and I think that if we want to increase participation in tennis, this is not the way to go about doing it. I went over there on a Saturday and Sunday, and as I say, I was. If we want to increase participation among young people, when they get over to those courts and find that they're locked, it's discouraging. Okay, and I also was wondering whether the school district is in violation of federal or state law by locking those gates. Okay. I know that outdoor athletic facilities, does that extend to tennis courts? I have that. I'm posing that question to the board. Okay, does locking a tennis facility, does that extend to locking up the tennis courts? Okay, and I don't believe it does. An attorney who's knowledgeable about Title IX, if this does involve Title IX, and if the attorney says that there's no violation, then fine, I'll let it go. But I'm just not happy about what I saw there, you know, these lock gates. If you have a compelling reason for is to avoid vandalism on the courts, or to avoid kids with their skateboards riding on the courts or doing damage, and I don't think that's a valid reason. And I think you're gonna have to come up with a better reason for locking up those courts. I started playing tennis about 45 years ago. Okay, so I'm in the kind of see more participation among the young people, especially the kids that live in that neighborhood, you know, in that vicinity of Northgate High School where the courts are. They go over there and see the courts are all locked, you know, they're gonna say the heck with it. You know, they're not gonna wanna play.
Well, thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you.
And we will take them under consideration.
Thank you.
Claire Aaliyah Robbins. Oh, we got 3 young people. Come on up, girls.
I'm just adjusting the mic.
Yes. We had to do that. There you go.
How's that? Yeah, more closer there.
Okay. What would you like to tell us, Claire?
Hello, President Mason, members of the board, Superintendent Meyer, and community. We are 5th grade junior Girl Scout Troop 33570 from Walnut Acres Elementary. I'm Claire Little, this is Robin Pound and Aaliyah Clark. We are here tonight to
We are working on the Bronze Award, which should be completed by the end of this school year. The Bronze Award is a project that makes a lasting impact on the community. Our troop discussed ideas and Fountain benefits the community by helping our environment, by saving plastic that pollutes our ocean. It is also healthier water for children because it's filtered.
These are our questions. Who from the district would be best for us to work on with this project? Also, are there requirements like forms or permits that we would need to fill out to do this? How much money would we need to raise? That's the cost of each water station. Is willing to cover part of the cost. Also, which school might you recommend to receive our donated fountain if we raise enough money to give one to a sister school? Thank you for your time.
All good questions. Now, I have a couple of clarifying questions for you guys. In order to, which piece of that do you need to fulfill? The 2 water stations? Is that, just step on up and answer? If you know?
We at least need to get them ready and paid for by the end of the year. They don't have to be completely.
Girl Scout leader when I was a young lady, and I had projects that I did, and I'm very impressed with the fact that you come down here and not only have you spoken so intelligently, but you brought questions and you're leaving the questions so I can pass them off to the superintendent so she can get to the questions and get answers to you. So before you're done, do any of the board members have any comments or questions? I feel Lima.
Report I can give an update on this very topic.
Perfect.
Their project?
Water stations
Okay.
throughout the district.
All righty.
Good job.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I'm Ditto Clark. I live in Walnut Creek. I'm a candidate for Contra Costa County Board of Education, and I'm here to thank the board members for doing what they do for your public service.
welcome. Okay, and that concludes our public comment. We are on to recognitions and resolutions. I have a resolution number 18/19-14, anti-bullying awareness. Anti-Bullying Awareness Month. The goal is to encourage communities to work together to stop bullying and cyberbullying by increasing awareness of the problem and the impact of bullying on all children of all ages. The more awareness that is created during the month of October and all year round is one step closer to putting an end to bullying. And I would say not only to children, but to adults as well.
Madam President, I move that the board approve, excuse me a second. Resolution number 18/19-14 on Anti-Bullying Awareness Month.
Second. Thank you. That passes 5-0-0. Very good. And it is a month of resolutions. The next resolution is 18/19-15, Disability Awareness Month. October has
Madam President.
Go right ahead.
It
October
deserves it.
has been designated as Disability Awareness Month. The Special Education Department and the Mount Dale Unified School District wish to affirm its support of the importance and appreciation for the diversity of all people. The Mount Dale Unified School District also recognizes the contributions made by people with disabilities throughout history and encourages schools to participate in activities that enhance awareness of and sensitivity to individuals with disabilities.
Go right ahead now. Thank you for reading that. Approve resolution. I move that the board approve resolution 18/19-15 honoring Disability Awareness Month.
Second. Passes 5-0-0. And resolution 18/19-16, Dyslexia Awareness Month. October has also been designated as Dyslexia Awareness Month. The Special Education Department and Mount Dale Unified School District recognize that dyslexia is a language-based learning disability to providing self-awareness, self-empowerment, and school and life success for all students.
Madam President, I move that the board approve resolution 18/19-16, Dyslexia Awareness Month.
Thank you. Second. That passes 5-0-0. Next, we have a public employee appointment, and I will turn that over to Dr. Meyer.
Thank you. Board of Education, I would like to recommend for the position of Supervisor Food and Nutrition Services, Thomas Egan. Thomas comes to us with a degree in Academy in Sacramento. He also has a ServSafe certification from the Food Service Management Professional Organization. He has experience as Jefferson Union High School District's Food Services Director. He also has been Director of Dining Services and Senior Executive Chef for Morrison Senior Dining. He has experience as a San Francisco for San Francisco State University. He has also been an executive chef in multiple both private and public entities. So I would like to recommend Thomas Egan for the position of Supervisor, Food and Nutrition Services.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam President, I move that the board appoint Thomas Egan as a supervisor of food and nutrition services.
Second. Quite a background, by the way. Very impressive.
And now
Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Nellie. I'm Thomas Egan, and I'm honored to be here tonight. I'm very excited about this opportunity. I feel the vision of the food service department will make a great addition to the team.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. Okay. Now to the highlight of all of our meetings, it's student representative reports. So I will let you determine the order, Hannah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little sick. I don't know. I know, sorry. Good evening. Good evening, President Mason, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Meyer, Superintendent's Council, and members of the audience. My name is. Start with sports. For football, we have some good news to report for once. We are proud to announce that our football team won their first game on their new field on the 14th against College Park. We managed to pull off a win, and this student section was pretty excited. It was a small win, but it's still a win, and we're very excited because it's our new field. So we got you what we promised. So our cross-country team had their Ed Science Invitational on the 8th and their De La Salle Invitational on the 15th. One of our runners, Erna Sanziano, who is also my best friend, I'm gonna rep her for a second. She got the 6th best time overall in Ed Science meet at Martinez at the Hidden Valley Park there, and she's won both of the races in varsity. Excited for her. She's not for sure yet, but the times say yes.
Could be wrong.
Okay, so our next one is the girls volleyball team. Our freshmen pulled off an astonishing win against Clayton Valley, one of our biggest rivals, and we celebrated that with our JV and varsity teams. Their next match is away, which is tomorrow against College Park on the 13th, and they're looking forward to playing Berean this Thursday at home. Our water polo team, this was a while back, it was the day of Walnut Fest, which was the 15th. They had their Sierra shootout. They placed 8th and won 2 of their 4 games, and they played some rough teams from around the area, so they repped our school very well. They also played Northgate, and they had a close game. Their next game is against CV this Wednesday. So the next thing is Walnut Fest. It was a big hit. Our theme was Disney, as I said last week, and it's also our homecoming theme, so we wanted to really incorporate that into this year's school events. We had a bunch of people come. There was people marching with the parade. The band played a bunch of Disney music, and the cheer squad had the in band, first in drum major and third in cheer. And unfortunately, we didn't win the net, but all the underclassmen are very excited to try again next year, and I think the spirit will be even more exciting. Yeah. Our next thing is Club Rush. It took place Wednesday the 19th, so a little bit ago, but we had all of our clubs and social organizations in the quad passing out flyers and getting people. It was really cool to see our campus culture reflected there. We had everything from a vet science club to a Smash Bros video game club, and we even had a new club which is mentoring. It's gathering high schoolers to mentor girls at El Dorado with their journey through school. So that's very exciting. We're looking forward to seeing what that does.
And as far as leadership, which is our favorite part, and we accepted all the new freshmen and juniors that wanted to come into our class, and we are getting them acclimated to the environment of homecoming week, so it's very stressful, but they're very excited to learn, and we're getting them used to we have a buddy system at our school where we have 2 students from leadership and they have 4 staff buddies around our campus, and so anything that we need to give them, so announcements and paperwork and stuff like that, they are that they have a direct connection to leadership. So the information will be a little bit better this year. And for homecoming, because this is this week, our dance is this Saturday. Our game is this Friday, and our royalty will be announced at the game, like always. Like I said, our theme is Disney, and we are having a Today was Sleeping Beauty Monday, so we wore PJs. And we have another day coming up, so Disney Duo, so it's like Mike and Sully, different duos, or we can have a twin day as well.
Mickey and Minnie.
Mickey and Minnie, exactly, yeah. And then we have a Wacky Wednesday, so dress for the Disney movies together. We were able to get a DJ today. We have our SOS Entertainment Industry or company that we work with, and they have offered to give us a DJ for free this time since we work with them so much. And we also are focusing on teacher involvement in the games and involving the royalty as well, so they can participate and the students can see them participate. Our gender neutral court, so each grade level is allowed. They're allowed to pick 2 people from each grade level, and then everybody votes for the senior court royalty. And again, that's 2 people, so the winners will pick their crown, so it's gender neutral, and we're very proud to do that because we did that at prom this past year. And then our last thing for leadership is our Woodland Conference, which is coming up October 2nd. This is a conference we go to every year where we bring our entire class to learn about which is the northern half of California, which is the biggest area in California Association of Student Leaders. So we're excited to do that, and everybody is going to learn different perspectives of the leadership class. So from activities directors all the way to students, freshmen, and sophomores, all the new people included. So yeah. And thank you, and go Minutemen.
Thank you, Hannah. Next.
Good evening, President Mason, Board of Members, Superintendent Dr. Meyer, members of Superintendent's Council, and members of the audience. My name is Claire McGinnis, and I am the student body at Northgate High School with lots of exciting events just around the corner. Just to give a brief overview of the post and upcoming events at Northgate. The first day of school could be described as anything but unexciting. In typical Northgate fashion, we started the year out strong, but with a twist. A fantastic guest speaker, Howard Lowe, came and spoke to our 10th, 11th, and 12th graders on the first day of school. He taught us to embrace the nub and not to let you hold yourself back. During this time, the freshman orientation, led by the Link Crew leaders, who helped show these new Broncos their new home, with a sprinkling of fun bonding activities, advice, and a personalized tour. Every student attending Northgate High School received a free white Under Armour t-shirt at the walkthrough to wear for the whiteout for the first football game that Friday, which was August 17th. Homecoming week is this week with the Spirit Days from Marvel Avengers, Senior Citizens, Scooby-Doo, and Hercules, if you can see my face. The dance will be September 29th, and the football game will be September 28th, where we will release our homecoming court. And I really do think this court this year really speaks to the best that Northgate has to offer in terms of school spirit. We will have a pep rally where our little skits based on all of our spirit days, and then the teachers and staff are also choreographing their own. Hopefully has lots of Mary Poppins. I'm really excited about that one. And then the dance this year is a little bit of a twist. It's Alice in Wonderland meets that hit TV show called Stranger Things. So it's Alice in Wonderland with a little more reds and purples. November 5th, during lunch, where students have the opportunity to join and start clubs ranging from Nintendo Club, K-pop Club, Key Club, and even Spikeball Club. And then in upcoming events, our improv team will have our first improv show October 5th, where we encourage everyone to come and visit. It is so funny. I laugh till I cry every single time. All right, thank you.
Alrighty, next.
Good evening, President Mason, board members, Superintendent Dr. Meyer, members of Superintendent's Council, and members of the audience. My name is Jorge Paredes, and I am the student representative from College Park High School. We started off the year very well. We just had our club day this past Friday, which we have over 40 clubs. It's always a lot of fun when we see all the students signing up. We had our dollar dance last month to kick off the year. So basically that's like at lunchtime. We have our student DJ. He just plays some tunes and everyone just has fun during lunch. Coming up, we have homecoming next week, which this year we have come up with the Star Wars theme. So Monday we have light side versus dark side, so it's just wear light colors versus dark colors. Wednesday is it's twin day, clone day, so resembling that Star Wars. Thursday is out of this world, or out of party in space, sorry, which is neon day, and Friday is just purple out. We have our dance that following day, so yeah, from 7 to 10. 700 people going, which was pretty good turnout. So yeah, and coming up we have our blood drive, which is taking place in November, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Good evening, President Mason, board members, Superintendent Dr. Myers, members of Superintendent's Council, and members of the audience. My name is Megan Chachong, and I am the student body president for Mount Diablo High School. To start off, we had senior picnic. That was at Hurricane Harbor, and it was pretty hectic for our leadership class considering it came early. Our theme was also Disney, and so the classes competed, and the seniors won with their theme, which was Alice in Wonderland. Clubs Carnival was pretty fun too. A lot of kids attended, and we had clubs coming out from BSU to K-pop to Key Club to HOSA. Loss against Ignacio Valley, our JV won. The Snack Shack raised almost $2,000 in profit, which goes towards our Boosters Club for our sports. And Homecoming 22nd, which was this Saturday, we had great attendance for our homecoming, which, yeah, like I said, is Disney themed. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello?
Good evening, President Mason, board members, Superintendent of the audience. I'm Sam Amanat. I'm a student representative from the MDUSD and DVC College Now program, along with
Hello, I'm Dean Dimawanta. Nice to meet you.
Yes. So the College Now program, for those of you who don't know, is a 2-year around Mount Diablo Unified School District who come to DVC to take just finish their last 2 years of high school there and take college classes and get a head start. Actually, I'll show that thing.
We started classes on August 8th, which is a little earlier than most schools. Valley College started school on August 27th, so we were there for about 3 weeks, and we had the whole campus to ourselves. It was amazing. Pretty much that 3 weeks. So our junior class is completely new. Those 3 weeks were really utilized to make sure the new students in our program were available to navigate campus and understand, you know, where to find information, where to access supplies, and school was really focused on having us understand, you know, we have tools available, and they're available, and we can utilize them as being students. Yeah, our teachers and our counselors have done a great job of updating us on all events, MDUSD and Contra Costa School District, which is where Diablo Valley College is. We feel, you know, that we're high school students, but we're also ready to tackle challenges that the community college presents.
Something that we would like to stress is that all of you are invited to our back to school night. Our back to school night is September 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. That is a Thursday, and we have flyers here. Please come to that if you'd like to see more of what our program is doing and what our program has to offer.
Thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to board member reports, and we'll start with Trustee Durkee. Yeah, pass. Pressure's on.
I have just one event I wanted to talk about, which is the other day at Concord High School. We went to the CTE, which is the Career Technical Career Technical Education groups that have been meeting for some years now for the academies, and it was after school was out, but it's just a group of couple of board members. We kind of wander through and sit and learn what's going on. But I was so impressed. I went to the construction academy this time. I kind of try to shop around a little. I think last time I went to the education academy, but I like to keep in touch with what they're all doing. It had to be one of the most impressive group of business partners I've experienced in terms of their dedication actually get employment right after high school. So some of the conversation was around apprenticeship programs and how students can really get into those programs. And they are motivated and excited, and I appreciate the fact that the high school teachers turned out too, who are actually teaching these academy courses, and it couldn't be a better partnership. They're working on job skills and employment, because the whole concept in career technical ed is really for students to be career ready. Some will go on to college. We have our College Now program where you heard from a couple of our students, which we're very proud of, that they get early college admission. But we're also really wanting to showcase that Mount Diablo Unified is focusing also on careers and straight to work too. Trades, especially that I interface with, will tell you that the next group of employees is not out there sometimes. And I say this probably because I grew up with a brother who's a carpenter and a contractor, and his whole passion is where is that next group who are going to build homes. That we are still working on. It's not just Mount Diablo, but it's one that I think we've had good dedication for a number of years. So it was really nice of Concord High to host us. You've got a great staff room that I hadn't seen for a while. Maybe you don't get to see it, but... It used
to be my French class.
Oh. Well,
they opened it up a little.
Yeah, it's open, double the size. Yeah, so it's nice. It's a nice setting for adults to meet. Friendly. Round tables, and everybody can talk to each other. So it was very nice to be over there. And the campus looks great. And so does your new athletic facilities over there too.
Beautiful.
It is.
Love it.
Yeah, so it was nice. That's it.
Trustee Mayo?
Thank you. I would like to thank all the volunteers in the community of Pleasant Hill for coming. Our staff members, principals and teachers and custodians who are also on site to help facilitate the projects for the community members, and also keep things moving along. So it looked like it was a great day. On October 13th, all of you should have received an invitation to being held in Oakland. It starts at, I believe it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and the speakers will include Dennis Myers, who will provide the latest update on legislative happenings in Sacramento and CSBA plans for the next in regards to proposition and raising funds for school districts throughout California. Region 7 includes Contra Costa County School Board members, as also Alameda County School Board members. So it should be a great turnout, and it'll be an opportunity for you to network with other board members. On October 20th, breakfast and day-long training event on Sandy Hook Promise. It will be held at the community center in Pleasant Hill. It begins at 7:30 in the morning. The public and board members are welcome to attend the opening part before they go into some training. And there may be Contra Costa County School Boards Association and one of the presenters from the Sandy Hook Promise, so that school board members have a better understanding of what the program is all about. So I will let you know as soon as the details are worked out on that. On this Wednesday, the Budget Advisory Committee meets at 5 o'clock here in the boardroom, and hopefully to that committee. The application is, or not the application, the submittal form is very brief, and you submit it to Nancy Jr.'s office. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Trustee Lawrence?
I just have one thing I would share, which is a very MDUSD lecture series, which next week on Wednesday, October the 3rd, will be focused on nutrition and food services with our very own Director of Food Services, Machi. And as part of that, one of the things that I want to mention is that unfortunately our Girl Scouts had to go home and were slated, not looking to the superintendent for confirmation, but to have water stations in all of our schools by the end of this school year, and then some schools which have already raised funds, and this could potentially apply, I think, to the Girl Scouts, which that they could certainly have additional water stations in addition to the main ones, but I would look to the superintendent for confirmation. And also just wanted to make sure, I had seen two different things, but I believe the speaker series is at 6:30 on October 3rd at Oak Grove Middle School.
I believe 5:30, and I know there will be tasting.
30 at Oak Grove Middle School.
And yes, that there is confirmation on, we are putting water stations in every school. Some have raised funds for additional or to partner with our maintenance department for those stations.
So I got there in the evening to say hi to my fellow board members as they were leaving. And I think I was like in sync with the students, because the rest of the week I was in Disneyland trick-or-treating with Mickey Mouse, so I was feeling the Disney vibe tonight. And unfortunately, the rest of this week I'm going to be in Palm Springs at the Egg in the classroom conference, so I'm not going to miss some of these events that I wish I could be, but I'll be thinking about you guys. Going through the forums, it'll be fun. So, but I did get a chance to stop by and have a quick and very nice visit with Diablo Day. So that was fun for me to do last week. So we'll get to the superintendent's report now.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Hannah, for still being here through my report. I appreciate it. happen in their lifetime.
She's had like, she's getting recruited by St. Mary's, but her times are like in line with people going
Everywhere.
Is she interested? Oh yes, that was like her main thing. So she's going to St. Mary's School of Running. Wow.
Great. All right, well, it's been 7 days since our last report, so this will be a little shorter. Wanted boring, and they just look so excited. Going ahead and starting, you've seen this. This is our district's focus, and the idea that we have a moral imperative to prepare our students, as was mentioned in the comments, and the events that we had last week for post-secondary success, college, and or career. So very excited about that. These so I love this picture, and there they are with tomatoes and the garden there at Riverview. Wanted to just show you a picture here. This was our Career Pathway Advisory Committee, and Heather Fontanella is there up in the upper left-hand corner, and she coordinated the event, and they had several breakout rooms according to Pathway. Culinary pathway, but also a little time in the engineering pathway as well, and there were others. So you can see the different groups speaking and a well-planned agenda. Wanted to also share, we had a board resolution last meeting for Hispanic Heritage Month, and in the spirit of tennis, I really had no idea we would have a speaker on that, but the Tennis Association, the U.S. Tennis Association, excuse me, they recognized David Pintada, who is a tennis coach at Mount Diablo High School, and so he's here on the courts at Mount Diablo, and he also was recognized for recruiting and bringing tennis to the community of Mount Diablo. So there's a brief video showing some of the
Estaba en la dirección correcta.
Mount Diablo tennis coach David Pintado is very in tune with his Hispanic culture, both on and off the court. But it's especially helpful on the court, since a lot of his team
and also he's Mexican like me, and I really enjoy having that connection with him, because it almost makes it feel like he's family to me.
His assistant coach Ralph Sansari echoes the sentiment as he discusses Pintado's relationship with his team.
Very close-knit, and they like culture, so they can relate to the same things, and a good deal of our practice is done.
Because of his love of tennis and the Hispanic culture, Pintado feels they need to coexist.
I feel that there's a lot of room for growth in this sport within the Latino community, and it's just a matter of us to put the seeds in the right places at the right times to see this sport grow within the Latino community. I think that will happen in the initiative that is now right now there. I think we have a very good chance to improve the numbers of either coaches or players that are from or they have a Hispanic or Latino heritage.
Because of this belief, he has been able to bring players into his.
I've known Coach Pintado for 3 years because he's been my teacher. I actually started playing tennis because Coach Pintado recommended me to start. Yeah, the first year I met him.
Pintado's love of tennis extends outside of the court. He is by including an educational aspect.
When I decided to coach, it's because I felt that there was a need for somebody to teach them how to play the sport, but also to inspire them that if they're doing well in the court, they can do also well in the classrooms. So, I mean, I'm not just a coach, I'm also a teacher. So I have to lean both, you know, to perform good in the sport, but also the academic part is totally related.
Pintado goes on to say that he believes a collaboration between the school district and the community would get more of the Hispanic community involved in tennis.
I think we need to open the courts. Open the courts like this, for example. More times they're closed. They have no access. People with the education sector, and we cannot put it together. Say we need to open the courts to the public so they can come and use the facilities. That's number one. Again, I have 20 kids that are interested, but there's no courts available, and those that are private.
For now, Coach Pintado will continue to inspire young players in and around his school district.
It makes me feel really culture. Soccer is the main sport, and since seeing like a Mexican coach and also a player makes you feel like, oh, maybe I can do this too.
I want to share that Dr. Pintado is a medical doctor who practiced medicine in Mexico, and now he is a teacher in the sports medicine pathway. To tennis.
Tomorrow is my 58th birthday. I will be celebrating, God willing, I wake up. So my producers put together a show filled with surprises. Of course, I have no idea what's happening. My first guest, though, is the master of ceremonies for the hour.
I don't know. Okay. I wanted to hear more. What happened? But anyway, we're very proud of that program at Mount Diablo High School, that it was recognized nationally. So it's very exciting. Speaking of recognized nationally and definitely statewide, every year our Northgate Instrumental Music group goes to Monterey for the Jazz Festival, and they usually take top honors, and they haven't competed quite yet, so we're expecting very professional jazz festival, and many have said that the Northgate Jazz Band is very, on par with the adults professionals. So we're very proud of them, and they get up really early and they travel a lot. Wanted to Proposition J. I'm going to keep that J. I like it. It's College Parks J. But just, I read some of this last time, but I wanted to just share an update, is that it was endorsed by the East Bay Times. They encouraged voters on that, and there is a web page, and more information is available on our website for advocacy for the bond. I also wanted to share another school was recognized by dual languages schools.org, and Holbrook recently published an article about the work that they're doing as a dual immersion school. 18th edition, and I'll send it to all of you and we'll post it. What they did was they spoke to primarily the principal, Marga Marshall, but also to our director, Carmen Garces, in our English Learner Department, as well as Dr. Jose Medina, who is the director of the Global and Cultural Education at the Center of Applied Linguistics Association. So he has been working with us to talk about development, not just for Holbrook, but he has worked very often with Holbrook. I think he likes it there, as do the students. And as Ms. Mayo mentioned, community service staff, the principals were there, custodians were there, and many teachers were there, but also a lot of students. I saw more students this time than in the past participating and getting that shovel and helping with boxes and planting. And so it was a wonderful day, Saturday, sprucing up the schools of Pleasant Hill. And then lastly, just wanted to thank you, and go Minutemen.
Thank you, Dr. Meyer. Okay, that takes us to our consent agenda. Do any board members have anything that they would like to pull from the consent agenda? I would like to pull 14.8 and 14. And if there's no others, then I will entertain a motion for the rest.
Madam President, I move the board approve the consent agenda as printed with the exception of 14.18, 14.8, and 14.16.
Thank you. And that passes 5-0-0. And that takes us to point 1. I pulled this one just because I'm going to support it. But as someone who writes grants, and I know I've inquired in the past when we get a grant that we are approving as a board, it'd be nice if we have some information. And $500,000, we should be at least a budget of where we kind of think the money's going to be spent. And I know the issue when I've raised it before, it's like, well, was looking for grant material to plagiarize. So I don't know that there's a lot of that goes around, but we are making a commitment as a board when we approve a grant to fulfill it. So it would be nice if we just had a sense of where the money was going to be spent in the future. Having said that, I would go ahead and entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move that the board approve item 15.1, Title IV Student Support and Submission.
Second. Thank you. Zero, zero. And the next one, 14.16, I believe Lisa Murphy-Oaks was going to address this item on the agenda.
I would. As you will see, retiring this year, and it is Denise Larkin. 25 years of experience, stand up Denise. When she told me, my knees buckled and I cried. Her experience and expertise as an employer-employee relations specialist is par none. 25 years of experience in Mount Diablo, doing an amazing job.
And anytime you want to come down and just hang out with us at a board meeting, please, we'll welcome you.
That'd be
right.
6 months to 6 months. Right.
Okay,
Actually, I'd like to, for decades myself, Denise, some of us are replaceable, some of us aren't. You have been an amazing rock, and an amazing source of knowledge, so you really will be missed. I know that from generations of people.
But I want to say congratulations, you're going to love it.
I've already warned her, if she's like the rest of us, she's going to be more busy, but at least you'll be.
Wants it, though. I always say to people, you can run for school board.
Yeah,
always looking for the next group.
Okay, so we will regretfully go ahead and approve that item now. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move the board approve the recommended action.
And that passes 5-0. Thank you. All right. Takes us to board action items. 18.1. Ratification of memorandum of understanding between the City of Pleasant Hill and Mount Diablo Unified School District to co-fund one school resource. Dr. Meyer, anything to add?
Just that we're very grateful for the partnerships that we have that have led to SROs on our high school campuses, and that this gentleman has started and has already embedded himself within the community of the College Park and their feeder schools. And thank you to the board for all the work you've done to make that happen.
Madam President, I move the board approve the to co-fund school resource officers for the 2018-19 school year. And thank you to Pleasant Hill, because I think we have all our cities now. It's a great partnership.
Did I hear a second? Second. And that passes 5-0. And next we have California Interscholastic Federation Representatives 2018, 2019. I believe this is something we do every year. Any comments from the board?
This is very, Madam President, I move the board approve the California Interscholastic.
Second.
I will say they're now meeting. You were talking about some of your rivals. They're meeting. North Coast section is meeting right now to talk about league realignment. And there's a couple of changes I'm privy to. I happen to hang out with that group, and there's a couple of changes I think coming in some of your rivals, so it should be interesting. Yeah, there's a couple, and your principal's been great. Ms. Falscraft, she attends all the meetings, she's very vocal. She may even be the president next year, so I want to applaud her for her dedication to athletics and representing our district well. Yeah.
Passes 5-0. Okay, next we have ratification of memorandum of understanding between the district and classified unions and associations regarding salary, administration, and longevity. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Madam President, I move that the board approve item 18.3, ratification of MOUs between the district and classified unions and associations.
Thank you.
Second.
And that takes us to amendments to the board policies, administrative regulations, and adoption of one new board policy and administrative regulation relating to immigration status under Assembly Bill 699 that was passed in 2017. This came to the board for information some time back. We've had time to read it and digest it and realize that we are luckily already in alignment with most things that are there, and so now it's It was not. I think I'm okay.
Madam President,
Yes,
I move that the board approve item 18.4, amendments to board policies.
Thank you.
Second. Don't be scared of the 14 attachments either.
We're ready. And that passes 5-0. Okay, 18.5, fiscal transactions for Lakeshore Learning, which we will be doing, let's say, piece.
Madam President, I request a voice vote because I may have a potential conflict of interest in the East for this particular company.
Alrighty, so I will entertain a motion on this.
Madam President, I move that the board have a voice vote for item 18.5 fiscal transactions for Lakeshore County.
Thank you. Thank you. Hanson?
Yes.
Sturkey? Yes. Ms. Mason votes yes. That passes 4-0-1. Okay, last item, 18.6. We have a speaker card. Denise Persher?
Well, we finally made it to the day that the MDUSD board will be taking action on the Advocates for Youth 5th Hip Hip Parade. More than 7 months after my first public comment, these things do take time, I guess. Fred Rogers, who is known to many as Mr. Rogers, is quoted as saying, "Anyone who does anything to help us." What I understand, the superintendent has recommended to remove only 2 of the 11 lessons for the 5th grade sexuality education. That means 9 are still there. The 2 lessons recommended for removal are titled Learning About HIV and another lesson titled I Am Who I Am. That's my understanding. Those 2 are coming out. The lesson plan I Am Who I Am is designated by the curriculum instruction and designated as 7th grade. So just by its designation, it should have been removed long before now. You see, the district needs to decide if they want a sex ed curriculum based on human reproduction, or do they want to teach sex and sexuality? And that really is the division. And by sex, I mean a description that is explicit and defines, but for teaching about sex and sexuality. And there is a difference between curriculum based on reproduction and a curriculum based on sex and sexuality. It looks like you've chosen the latter. You've got 2 lessons on puberty. The titles of these lessons are Making Sense of Puberty and Reproduction. You could combine those 2 lessons into one. Puberty. You've got 2 lesson plans on reproductive processes. Those lesson titles are Sexual and Reproductive Anatomy, and the title Puberty and Reproduction for the second. You could combine those 2 on reproduction and teach 1 instead of 2. Of course, I disagree about keeping the lesson plan titled Sexual and Reproductive Anatomy. You know, it's not the reproductive, that anatomy that is included in the lesson. You see, sexual and reproductive anatomy. There's a reason why they want both of those in there. And you're teaching that to 10 and 11-year-old children. I just ask what for. So if you have to keep the lesson sexual and reproductive anatomy, it seems you should combine it with the lesson puberty and reproduction. However, you would need to modify these lessons defines age appropriate. So I want you to go back and take a look at that. Remember, this lesson describes the clitoris. Yeah, scripting the teacher to point to it on the overhead and say, this is the clitoris, and it is sensitive. I guess you keep wanting to make it famous over and over. Policy to remove the lesson plan titled Learning About HIV, because the remaining lessons, the 9 that you have, are still describing vaginal sexual intercourse and sexual anatomy in the lesson plan Puberty and Reproduction, which is recommended be kept. And the penis is inserted into the vagina during sexual intercourse, also defined in that lesson plan.
Thank you. Your time is up.
All right. Well, I'll just ask.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question for Mr. Shanky, which is just that typically by board policy we adopt curriculum, and in this instance, as was discussed last year, we did not adopt this curriculum. Is our vote on the current curriculum with recommendations, is that encompassed?
Well, I think at some point you would have to ratify the curriculum. It's being taught. You delegate a lot of authority to the superintendent, particularly in the area of curriculum. But if the board's more comfortable with that, you could bring her back to ratify it. But at this point, she's bringing recommendations as to what she as superintendent has. Answer is you could act tonight, but you may want to bring the whole curriculum back to ratify it if you want to. But it's not, I think it's necessary.
You said you don't think it's necessary?
No. I mean, your superintendent is your chief educational officer of the district, and she has approved, obviously is aware of this and has approved it. If the board feels that it wants to bring it back for board discussion, it certainly could.
I went through the whole thing and thinking in terms of the fact that I have two granddaughters that are 10 and 13, and I think there's value in the friendship, the bullying, the clear with your friends, your body, the puberty, and the reproductive, although I would say you could separate the boys and girls for that. For 5th grade, and the rest could be in 7th grade. I understand, or I guess I should check my understanding, is where last year it was either opt out of all or not, that this year you could, if you wanted your kids to get 5 lessons, have them get 5 lessons and opt out the rest of it. Is that correct?
Correct. You can opt out of any of the lessons or portions of the lessons along the way.
Any of the individual ones maybe being okay to separate the boys or girls, or always have them all together?
You know, that was something that was brought up, but given the discussion from our last presentation, the idea that there may be students who don't want to say, I want to be with the boys, or they're even more uncomfortable staying with the boys. It's just
Well, I realize I'm kind of old, maybe look at it a little differently but that was my concerns, and I share the concern that I think is a concern of Mr. Warner, or at least a question is that, you know, had we been able to look at it first and give it a viewing like we are able to do with all the other textbooks that come along, it would have been a lot better, and maybe not a 7-month process like it has turned out to be. So.
And I would also say to that same point, the recommendations that the committee over the summer made take that into consideration for parents. So one of the things that each school will now do, they will all have a parent family night prior to the lessons being taught, whereas in the past they were just taught. Singular version. So there was some kind of internet looking that branched out farther than it was going to be taught. That did come into the conversation as well. So the idea that this board, it would have been helpful for this board to have all of this at the beginning is understood, and now each year we're looking at it from the parents' perspective, because with any of these conversations, and then they will then get that information so they can look at the 11 subject areas, and if they decide to opt out of part of any of them, they then could do so. And I did want to also just correct one other thing, that it is not the removal of those 2, but instead we're placing them in 7th grade, so they will still have access.
And then the issue with the videos will be standardized, as I remember from the last meeting. Whatever video we go with, every kid will be seeing the same video. It won't be up to the discretion of the teacher what video to show.
Correct. This is not going to be like World War II where you'll find different videos that you could use. We will have a prescriptive set.
Any other board questions or concerns?
My comment would be, I think that this is an improvement from where we were, and I appreciate who gave input. My son went through this last year. I spoke with him, I spoke with his teacher, I spoke with other teachers, I spoke with teachers at other schools and other parents at other schools. And so I think this action addresses several of the concerns. I think it's something that you know, we will continue to look at and so I hear the concerns, but I think that we also need to be aware of the world in which we live in and make sure every child has information about their bodies and about the decisions they're going to be making. And you know, I think it's certainly one that provides information that otherwise children might not get. And so balance than what we had before, and I think it's certainly better than not having the information at all, which of course we're required by law. So thank you.
So my one comment is that I'm hopeful that there's been a discussion about the process for opt-out for parents, and that when a parent chooses to opt out their child, and respectful of the parent's decision. I do believe that in most instances that did occur, but sometimes just the way people respond in voice or tone or manner, it makes parents uncomfortable with their choice. So I hope we've had a discussion about the opting out process.
Thank you, and I think we can't do enough of that. So we want to make sure that we handle people who may have disagreement with this with respect. I also want to share that we are also being considerate of staff who may be uncomfortable teaching this, and have a plan for staff who are not comfortable teaching this particular subject.
Our curriculum did not come before the board at the beginning. I think what's happened is a good process. I think going out, reaching out to the community, talking to parents. The parents I've spoken with at the elementary school level will appreciate and do some of the common sense adaptations that are being made. Going to receive training, the idea that the curriculum is going to be consistent. There's a more consistent implementation rather than people kind of branching off and doing their own thing. I think that's reassuring to the parents that I've spoken to. And I think there's a kind of a compromise here in looking at what topics may be more mature. So I think there's been a lot of common sense implementations and corrections, and it's always something with curriculum that you can revisit as we move along. But I want to thank the staff for reaching out to the community and the parents and trying to come up with some good compromises. I actually think several things recommended are fixing.
Just add that I think you know, we'll keep this on the radar for sure, and you know, I think everybody involved will learn going forward, and you know, like you said, maybe revisit some of these issues and see how it's you know, working in schools, not like what they were done, which is keep it on the radar.
So I'll entertain a motion, or it'll just die for lack of a motion.
Madam President, I move that the board approve item 18.6, fifth grade family life program recommendations.
Second.
And that passes 5-0-0. We do not. We have resolutions to sign, and I want to do some research and see if there's ever been a meeting that got done before 8:20.
Not to my history.
8 o'clock.
All right, we're done. Thank you.